The theory of writing. This is the video part of my portfolio. The theory that I researched was standardized testing should not be the only measure of how intelligent an individual is. The three reasons I researched were sleep and nutrition, stress, and cost. Teenagers need between 9 to 9.5 hours of sleep. What they're averaging is 7 to 7.25 hours of sleep. So a study that I looked into says without proper sleep, the memory and the ability to concentrate as well as higher cognitive functioning is severely affected. Scientists have linked a good night's sleep to higher test scores. By increasing sleep by 1 hour, the study shows an increase of 1.7 points on each exam. So 1.7 points may not seem like a lot, but if you're at a 78, you add that 1.7, you're up to 79.7. So you went from a C to a B, you could go from a B to an A, you could go from failing to a C. Now you're passing. The reason why kids are not getting enough sleep, the example I gave was look at kids that are involved in extracurricular activities such as sports, if they're in band, choir, orchestra, clubs. Some of them even have a part-time job. So you're looking at 8 hours of school followed by 2 to 3 hours of practice, maybe even more if you're working. On top of that, you get out of practice, work, you still have to study, you still have to do your homework, so you're losing out sleep. Now we move on to nutrition. Because you're sleeping in, because you'd rather get more sleep, you're skipping breakfast. So I know I've been there on an exam where I skip breakfast, my bowel sounds are going off, so I'm more focused on, is anybody hearing that? I'm embarrassed. So I'm trying to hurry up, speed up through the test to get out of there. So what happens is now I'm skimming the question, and I'm not reading it thoroughly, and I'm just answering the first thing that pops into my mind, which usually is wrong. So this goes back to not getting enough sleep. The next area I focused on was stress. Students and teachers both feel stress from these exams. If you look at the STAR exam for students, they have to pass this exam to move on to the next grade and then graduate high school. You move on to look at the SAT and ACT scores. You have to do well on these exams to get into college. So going back to, if you didn't get enough sleep, if you skipped that breakfast, you may not do so well on this exam and get into the college of your choice, so you end up having to settle for something else. So how do teachers feel the stress from this exam? They often have to teach for this exam. They got to teach to what may be on this exam. No longer are they able to freelance their teaching. Maybe you went into science or English because you really love that and you wanted to make a difference in someone's life. Now you get to teach to the curriculum, no longer to what you want. This can be stressful because these exams are funded by the state. So the better your school does, the school district does, the more funds that they're getting. So if, the scores aren't there for your class, for your subject, come contract time, they may not renew your contract, you may not have a job because you're not doing what they need. So this sucks because, hey, teachers, this is what they went into and this is how they make a living, this is how they provide for their family. So they have that added stress on there. The last thing I talked about, or I want to talk about, is cost. An article in the Dallas Morning News shows that the STAR exam costs $90 million to administer annually. So these funds could be better allocated. They could give teachers a raise. They could give them a bonus. I know everyone says that we don't get paid enough in anywhere you work, so giving that extra raise or a bonus would give you a little bit more self-worth, would make you feel appreciated and make you do a better, could potentially make you do a better job at what you're doing. They could also give this money to supplies for the classrooms. On average, teachers are getting a refund of up to $500 on their tax return for supplies. So I know they use more than that throughout the year. We could also get better computers, laptops, iPads, tablets for the classroom for students. Technology is a part of society. Kids are on social media, they're on YouTube. So let's give these kids multimodal learning platform. Let's keep them engaged. Let's keep them learning, keeping them wanting to come back versus having, the traditional whiteboard with a dry erase marker, overheads, PowerPoints, handouts. So they could be better, use those $90 million. So With all that being said, this just goes back to reiterate my theory. Standardized testing should not be the only measure of how intelligent an individual is. Thank you.